Part 23. The Strongest Husband of Dopo. Author, Hui Baixiong. Chapter 221. Listening to Yaokai Fairy's words, Xianchen fell into deep contemplation. Today, he is no longer the young man he was back then. Looking back at Fairy Yaokai, she was still looking at him with a smile on her face. From her eyes, she could see that she was now her own person. Exhaling a breath of turbid air, Xianchen looked around and said lightly, "This world does not belong to me. Are you willing to leave with me? The upper realm of Heavenly Palace is complicated. If you are willing to leave, I am willing to accompany you." Fairy Yaokai answered very readily. Seeing that the other party agreed to her invitation, she immediately shattered the space. When the crack in this space appeared, before Yaokai could react, Suinkan's hand had already been stretched out in front of her. "Let's go, I'll take you to my world." Xianchen spoke softly, and Yaokai hesitated for a moment, then put her hand on his palm after making her choice. As the two set off, it didn't take long for them to arrive at a world with beautiful scenery. This is called the Dochi continent, and it is also called the lower realm by the upper realm of Tiangong. Looking at the women waiting for him, Xianchen also had a heartfelt smile on his face. Nalan Yanran was holding a child beside her, and he could see the anger in the child's eyes. "Son, you have left regrets for your father. You have to walk the rest of the road well for your father." Xianchen put his hand on his son's head. His gentle face showed the kindness of an old father. In this short period of time, Xianchen finally made up his mind to spend his life peacefully with his women. Looking at what he had experienced over the years, Xianchen felt a little bit dumbfounded. Fairy Yaokai next to her frowned. After all, she had never heard that Xianchen had a wife. Nalan Yanran frowned and looked at Fairy Yaokai beside Xianchen, with a smile on her face, and said softly, "From today on, we are a family, and we should get along well as a family. I don't even bother to be with you." Medusa on the other side was a little dissatisfied with Xianchen's behavior of leaving immediately, but seeing Xianchen return, she felt somewhat relieved. As for Yun Yun and others, they kept silent. After all, for them, Xianchen was no longer someone they could easily scold. Several years later, it was not until a young man named Xianyi emerged that he completely broke the new rules of Dochi continent. Xianchen and others learned from Venerable Yusun's upper realm biography that Obai launched a mutiny and rebelled, and specially invited disciples from all walks of life to return. Seeing the worried look on Yaokai's face, Xianchen put his arms around Yaokai's waist and said lightly, "The upper realm is your hometown. Since it is a message sent by Venerable Yusun personally, then I, Xianchen, am naturally willing to accompany you on this journey." "One trip? Then will you come back?" Yaokai asked with a frown. Although she had tried to get along with these women in the lower world over the years, she felt a little uncomfortable every time she saw Xianchen taking them seriously. "Meeting. After all, this is my home." Xianchen replied bitterly, and after he shattered the space barrier, he returned to the upper realm with Yaoqi. As for the women, they stood silently, waiting for their husbands' return.